AI. What was that like in the very beginning? What did you guys focus on?
We really were building kind of mobile applications. We were building any software that we could, quite honestly, to pay the bills. And so I actually took our first couple of software clients before I knew how to code properly. Like, I had done some experimenting with it, but I was by no means at the point where I should be taking a software client on. And so I'm really grateful to our early customers for that. But we were building any software that we could just to get the experience where now we focus a lot, almost all of our energy is focused on taking the boring, repetitive tasks that humans do in a day and giving them to computers. Like you said, our goal is to automate 10 million human hours by 2030. And we measure our success based off of how many hours did we take from the human to give to the computer. But it's always the boring and the repetitive stuff. We're not trying to take the creative stuff, the stuff that people feel they're uniquely good at, or they feel like they drive a unique amount of fulfillment from. It's the stuff that's very boring, very repetitive, very rote. And we fell into that really on accident. When I was starting the company, there were so many tasks that had to get done that I didn't want to do because they were boring. And so using my very, very limited tech knowledge, started automating those tasks that were super boring. And I thought, wait a second, if I like only doing fun stuff and I don't like doing boring stuff and I can automate all this boring stuff, I've actually never met anybody who likes doing boring stuff. I bet they also would really like to have all this stuff automated for them so they can focus on just the fun stuff.
Evan, give me an example of what some of the boring stuff is.
So, a lot of data entry, something that a lot of surprisingly senior level executives do, is they update KPI dashboards.
Hmm.
So how it happens, I think, in a lot of companies is there's a week goes by, and so the executives talk to their direct reports and they say, what happened here, what happened here, what happened here, what happened here. They get all sorts of numbers, and then they update the KPI dashboards, and then they walk into their executive team meeting with these new dashboards. But that takes 2, 3, 4 hours, not including, by the way, the time that it's taking their direct reports and meetings. And we're using AI all the time to automatically gather all this information and then automatically populate it into the KPI dashboards, maybe even generate a report that the executive team can have on a daily basis instead of on a weekly basis, saying, hey, here's the status of the business. Another one is a lot of people are doing research. They go to the same 10, 15, 20, 25 websites to check in and see what's happening today, what happened here, what happened there. Is there anything new that I should be paying attention to? But that takes an hour and a half, 2 hours a day to check all these sites. And so we do a lot of automating around scraping those websites for our clients and then just sending them the information that they need. Instead of them going, clicking, most of the time there's nothing that's valuable. Hey, we found something, we think this is valuable. Take a look and provide human review afterward. And a lot of really kind of large manual processes in the real estate industry, for example. How do you find great deals in real estate? Well, it's a manual process, but it's very data driven. There's certain numbers for what makes a great real estate deal work, and there are certain numbers that don't. And you take those numbers and you understand what's going into the deal. What do the sales documents say? And we can take all of that and prepare it for an investment committee so that inside of the firm, the investment committee is just reviewing the deal. They're not going out and looking for the deal, and most deals don't work out, or they're not going to be good fits. And we take it and we just say, hey, these are the top 10, these are the top 50 deals that you should be looking at. Don't worry about the other 1,000.
Those three examples are just mind-blowing when you start to think about the amount of time that we waste every day searching and hunting for the stuff that we think is going to make our work more productive and our lives better. Gosh, just the real estate example, maybe you're an investment, company, you're interested in a certain zip code, maybe a certain square footage, a certain type of property. Oh my gosh. And if you're a doctor, of course you want to know all the latest research on whatever your expertise is so that you're not having to search for that every day.
Yeah, it's not about trying to replace what makes you uniquely great. It's about trying to replace all the stuff you have to do so you can get to the thing that makes you uniquely great. And in the real estate example, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is, and with one particular client, they had a team of two people working full time, and they were able to find and evaluate and qualify 8 opportunities in a week across
Wow.
two people.
Hmm.
But as soon as you applied the AI to it, as soon as we applied the AI to it, we were able to do 150 in 17 seconds.
Oh my
Well, how does
goodness.
that transform the way that this firm is now operating? Oh my gosh, we used to have not enough leads. Now we have an overabundance of leads, and you have to reevaluate what it means to be a great lead.
Yeah. Evan, I'd like to talk about why AI is suddenly exploding now. Can you give us sort of a time frame, a history of AI over the past 8 years or so?
So, AI has been a field that's been developing over the last 50 years. But AI, as we think about it now, where the machines are very intelligent, maybe you didn't have to use conventional code like a conventional if-then statement to write it. It's really a field that's 10, 15 years old. What happened in 2019 was Google essentially invented what's called a transformer. That transformer changed the way that these algorithms were able to understand and process data. It made it a lot faster, it made it a lot and more energy efficient, and ultimately allowed it to scale much better. Before that, it would take an unbelievable amount of data and it would take an unbelievable amount of compute resources in order to be able to do relatively small tasks. Because of this invention by Google, it led to inventions like ChatGPT and these other large language models that are kind of taking over all the time. So it was a 2019 innovation that really didn't come to fruition or yield itself a massive, massive return until 2022. But all of a sudden, here we are, and the underlying kind of structure of the way that these algorithms work has completely changed.
Yeah. So walk me through the process, Evan. When you meet with a client for the first time, let's say they just have a run of the mill business, you can name what it might be. Where do you start the process of deciding what we're going to use AI to solve?
So, run of the mill businesses, I think, are some of the best businesses to use AI. And a lot of times in Silicon Valley, in the media, every company, they talk about how every company should become a tech company. Instead of every company being a company that delivers an incredible product or service for their clients, they just use tech to do it. And so I think that run of the mill businesses that already have great client relationships, they already have great products and services, they have excellent teams, they just want to continue to grow. I think that those are some of the best places to be using AI. But the first most important point to start at is, what is your bigger future? And it sounds, I think, a little bit cliche, but the opposite of it is the most expensive mistake that we see a lot of businesses make. So what happens when businesses do the opposite is, the leader of the business, the executive, the CEO, whoever, goes to a conference or listens to a podcast like this or sees a video, and then they walk into work the next day and they go to their team and they said, we need to figure out how to use AI. Come back to me in a month with what we're going to do. In our view, that is a solution in search of a problem. And it ends up being a very expensive, painful mistake, because whatever you hope the vision for the future is going to be ends up not being what you get. So when we work with clients, we say, first and foremost, what's your bigger future as a company?
Like, where do you want to be, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where do you want to be? And we're going to work backwards to figure out what technology you need, how to build it, those kinds of things, to make sure that we're building the technology that suits your future. The second thing, and this is, I think, the biggest hangup for a lot of businesses that are not in tech, is, well, how do I use it? Like, I keep hearing about how AI is going to change every industry. I don't want to get disrupted, but I don't know how to use it. So we first ask, what's your bigger future? What do you want to do? What's your vision? And then second of all, who are the most important people to help you achieve that vision? Like, on your team, who are the most important people to help you achieve that vision? And those are the people that we're going to free up with AI. We're going to take all the stuff that they hate to do so that they can push the ball forward as fast as possible. They can drive that creative, new strategic value as fast as possible because they're not doing all the other stuff.